Greetings, scholars. In this lesson, you will learn how to add and subtract fractions with unlike denominators. Let's get started. Let's say you ate 1/4 of an apple pie and 2/6 of a blueberry pie. How much pie did you eat altogether? Well, the equation would be addition, so it would be 1/4 plus 2/6. When you look at these, the denominator is 4 and 6, so you cannot add those how they are. You must get common denominators by finding a common multiple of 4 and 6. So we're going to set up what we call our skip counting multiple chart, or our multiple chart. Put our 4 here and our 6 here, the denominators. So you're only trying to find multiples of 4 and 6 because those are your denominators, 4 and 6. The denominator is the number on the bottom. So let's skip count by 4, and we're going to skip count by 6 until we find a multiple that they both have the same. 4, 8, 12, 6, 12. And if we don't find one by here, we can't keep skip counting. We continue to skip count further. So we found 12. So now that we've found 12, we're going to put 1/4 over 12, and we're going to put 2/6 over 12. When you do that, what you're trying to find is a common denominator, an equivalent fraction, excuse me. So 1/4 is equivalent to what in twelfths? And 2/6 is equivalent to what in twelfths? So you have to ask yourself, 4 times what is 12? So it'll be times 3. So then you times the 1 times 3, and that's going to give you 3. So 1/4 is the same as 3/12. Now let's get 2/6 over 12. How do you get from 6, the denominator, to 12? Times 2. So what do we have to do to the 4? Times 2. 2 times 2 is 4. If you don't times the numbers, the numerator and denominator, by the same number, it's not going to produce an equivalent fraction. And what you're trying to do is produce an equivalent fraction with the same denominators. So 1/4 is the same as 3/12. You're not getting any more or less. And 2/6 is the exact same as 4/12, except it just has more pieces. Add these together. Now that you have the same denominator, you can just add the numerators across. So 3 plus 4 is 7. Numerator is the top number, and then the 12 just slides over. So your answer is 7/12 for 1/4 plus 2/6. So when you say how much pie did you eat altogether? 7/12 total amount of pie. All right, let's try this next one. Now let's say you go for a run. On Monday, you ran 4/5 of a mile. On Wednesday, you ran 8/15 of a mile. How many miles did you run altogether that week? So the equation would be 4/5 plus 8/15. Since the denominators are different, we have to get them the same in order to add them. You never add the denominators. And you only add the numerators when the denominators are the same. So let's look at that. We have 4/5 and 8/15. 15 and 5 are different numbers. So you can't just do 4 plus 8 is 12 and 5 plus 15 is 20. That would be completely wrong, because with denominators you have to get them, with fractions, you have to get them to the same denominator before you can add them or subtract them. So let's put our 5 here and our 15. And what are we trying to find? We're trying to find a multiple of 5 and 15 that they both land on. So let's skip count by 5s. When you skip count, you're finding the multiples. These are the multiples. And then 15. You're trying to find the lowest. So 15 is your lowest. You don't even have to skip count anymore. Now what do we have to do? Find equivalent fractions for 4/5 to 15ths and 8/15 to 15ths. So 5 times what is 15? 5, 10, 15 times 3. So what do we have to do to the 4 to produce the equivalent fraction? Times that by 3. 4 times 3 is 12. So 4/5 is the same as 12/15. And 8/15, how do you get from 15 to 15? Times 1. So how do you get from 8? So what do we have to do to the 8? Times it by 1. 8 times 1 is 8. So you add those two together, and you're going to get 20/15. What kind of fraction is this? Improper. So we have to change it to a mixed number. How many 15s go into 20? 1. 1 times 15 is 15, and how much is left? 5. And then the denominator comes over 1 and 5/15. And notice this can reduce. So this is 1 and 1/3. So for how many miles you ran all together? You ran a total of 1 and 1/3 of a mile. Okay? If you want to practice that again, just pause the video, practice it, and then watch the video, see how you do. Alright? Subtracting is the same strategy when the denominators are different. Let's say you have 5/6 of a pound of peanuts and you eat 1/3 of them. The equation is 5/6 minus 1/3. So, look at 6 and 3. Are those the same? No. So you have to get common denominators. So how do we do that? Well, what do 6 and 3 both land on? 6, 3, 6. And if you can skip count further, you'll see 3, 6, 9, 12 other ones. But what's the lowest? 6. So you circle that 6. They both have that in common. So we have to get 5/6 over to 6. We have to get 1/3 over to 6. Remember, to add and subtract fractions, you have to have the same denominator. How do you get from 6 to 6 is what you want to ask yourself now, times 1. So what do we have to do to the 5? Times it by the same number. Whenever you times a fraction, the numerator and denominator by the same number, you're producing an equivalent fraction. So 5/6 is 5/6, which makes sense. How do you get from 3 to 6? So times 2, what's that multiplication relationship? How do you get from, so what do you have to do to the 1? Times it by 2. What is 1 times 2? 2. So 1/3 is the same as 2/6, except it's in the denominator 6 like we needed, so we could get them the same. Add those, you have 7/6. So again, this is what kind of fraction improper? You can't leave it like this. How many 6's go into 7? 1. 1 times 6 is 6. That's a remainder of 1. And then the denominator just comes over. So your answer is 1 and 1/6. And that's your lowest form. You cannot leave an answer improper. Well, the goal is to get it to mixed number. Now, why don't you try this? Dana had 6/8 of a cup of flour. Her recipe called for 1/2 a cup of flour. The equation would be 6/8 minus 1/2, because she had 6/8 flour, but she used, subtraction, 1/2 a cup of flour. So since the denominators are different, you must find a common multiple and then get both fractions to the same denominator. I want you to pause the video at this point, see if you can skip count by 8 and skip count by 2 and find a common multiple so that you can get both fractions over to that. Alright, you should have paused the video, and now we're back so that you can check your work. If not, pause it now so you can practice without, and then check it after. So if we skip count by 8, 8, 16, let's skip count by 2's. When you're skip counting, you're listing multiples. Multiples are skip counting. Skip counting is multiples. 2, 4, 6, 8. So I could keep going, but I've already found a multiple that they both have in common. 8 for when you skip count by 2, and then the first multiple of 8 is 8. So then we have 8. We found a common multiple. Yes! So now we've got to get 6/8 over to 8's, and 1/2 over to 8's. So what is 8 times? 8 times what is 8? You're looking for the multiplication relationship. It's times 1. So then you need that so that you can times your numerator by that same number. So times 1. What is 6 times 1? 6. Now, how do you get from 2 to 8? What's the multiplication relationship? 2, 4, 6, 8 times 4. So what do we have to do to the 1? Times it by 4. In order to make those equivalent fractions, to get halves over to 8's, you have to times it by the same number. So 1 times 4 is 4. Add that together, what's that going to give us? 10/8. Again, you can't leave that like that. How many 8's go into 10? 8, 16, only 1. How far, what's 8 times 1? 8. How far is that from 10? 2, and then 8's. So then your denominator just comes over. So you have 1 and 2/8. Is that the lowest form? No, I would put an R like this, which means reduce it. Your whole comes over. What can 2 and 8 be divided by? 2. 2. What's 2 divided by 2? 1. What's 8 divided by 2? 4. So your lowest form is 1 whole and 1/4. How did you do? You probably got 10/8. Were you able to change it from improper to the mixed, and then from the mixed down to the reduced form of the mixed? If not, practice it again until you get it. Alright, Scholar, in this lesson you learned how to add and subtract fractions using common denominators. If you don't get it, keep practicing. There's more videos out there so that you can be successful at adding and subtracting fractions. Have a good day.